immediately following the miraculous events at Kriyas Yamsuf, we find a little bit of a problem seeps into the Jewish people by Asam Moshe Yisrael, that it is necessary for Moshe to almost pull away, to drag away Klal Yisrael from Yamsuf, which is very startling. What was left for them to remain at Yamsuf for? So Chazal tell us that they were enjoying a little bit too much the Biza Sayam. We know that Chazal teach us that there was an even greater amount of the Biza, a tremendous amount of a booty and food and whatever had been taken off of the Egyptian horses and chariots at the time of Kriyas Yamsuf was even greater than the Rechush Gadol that they had taken when they left Mitzrayim. And Klal Yisrael were getting a little bit too much focused on the Zav and the Kesef and the gold and the silver and all the wonderful riches that had now been left for them at the time of Kriyas Yamsuf. But Yasa Moshe Yisrael, it was necessary for Moshe to almost pull them away. And this imagery of Klal Yisrael getting a little bit too much focused on the gold and the silver, specifically at this moment of time, is something which speaks very powerfully to each and every one of us. It was at this moment, after witnessing Kriyas Yamsuf, after a tremendous Hashras Hashchina manifestation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence that had never before been seen in such a manner, the tremendous level of Yerushalayim and Amunah that had been reached, now had set the stage for the next level. And it was now incumbent upon Klal Yisrael to take all those kochos and to move forward. And what was the next step? The next step was to march to Har Sinai. The next step was the preparation, the days of Sfiras HaOmer, the counting down to Har Sinai, this Mountain Terasenu, which is, of course, the very purpose of the entire Yetzias Mitzrayim. And that culmination of Har Sinai was now in jeopardy because Klal Yisrael were getting a little bit too much involved, a little bit too much interested in some of the sideshows and some of the Kesef and Zav. And the Kesef and Zav was important because it was ultimately that Rechush Gadol and the Kesef and Zav that would be used at a later point to construct the Mishkan. So Kadosh Baruch Hu had a grandiose plan for giving Klal Yisrael the Kesef and Zav. But when the Jewish people began to lose sight of what the priority was, and rather than focusing on the upcoming trip to Har Sinai, now rather than turning to Moshe Rabbeinu and saying, Moshe Rabbeinu, we're ready to go, we're ready to run, we're ready to be ready to Kabul HaTorah, we're ready to reach the pinnacle of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and rather they start to get a little bit too bogged down in the Gashmius, in the physical of this world. So that was a sign of potential trouble. Moshe Rabbeinu had to quickly gather the troops together and put them back on the right course. Of course, this message speaks to us as we're entering into the last days. Beautiful Yontif, a Yontif that has taught us the significance of Hashras Hashchina. We experience the greatness of the great majesty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the Leil HaSeder. We're about to witness Yisrael Siyada Gedola again at the time of Kriyas Yamsuf. We've had an entire week almost together with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, focusing on the beauty of the Yontif and the wonderful, wonderful majesty of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence in this world. And now the question is going to become for us, what's the day after? What happens afterwards? Does all of the above set the stage for that march towards Kibbutz HaTorah, to the Yontif Shavuos, which is just around the corner? Or are we going to begin to get a little bit too focused on some of the Kesef Zav, some of the sideshows, some of the things, some of the Gashmias, some of the temptations of this world that tend to take our focus off of the greatest Rechush, the greatest Zav Chesed that we have, Tovi Terospich B'Yalfei Zav Chesed, the gift of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's waiting us in the Yom Tov Shavuos. So as we focus on the last days, it's beautiful, wonderful Yontif. Let's see, hopefully we can try to get our focus and try to keep our priorities and try to keep our eyes on the ball, what this is all about. That the Zman Chiruseinu was just the beginning of a process. The greatness of the Yontif of Pesach is only in its beginning because it set the stage for the great Yontif of Olin Latova, of Zman Taraseinu, not all that far down the road. So I wish everybody a wonderful Shabbos and a wonderful Yontif, and enjoy with your families, and enjoy the beauty of the Yontif And hopefully, B'ez Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us a Siyat D'Shmaya to be able to go the day after Yom Tov, to be able to go to the next step of Avodas Hashem, to be able to complete the process of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Lakach Yeschem V'Yom V'Yisi Lachem Elokim. Shabbos and Yom Tov.